New chapter is about to begin for many student athletes.
It is National Signing Day, and the commitments have been made, the letters of intent now signed.
They are now signed off. Now, we see the excitement from the athletes and the families as this process goes on. The decision is made, the document is signed. However, we don't get to see the process leading up to it. Now, I had the opportunity to sit down with two of the state's top football players to discuss playing at the next level. And while that has been their lifelong dream, there is still a lot of stress that comes with recruitment and being the best.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Those bags are filled with recruiting letters addressed to the state's top linebacker, Rashaan Evans, wanting him to come play for their football program. What started as letters eventually turned into text messages, emails, phone calls, and even in-home visits from some of college football's most successful coaches.
Really you have to be prepared mentally because it can really overwhelm you.
Overwhelming is perhaps an understatement, considering Rashaan has been getting looks since he was a freshman at Auburn High School.
You can't really make a decision off of emotion, and you have to take everything into account when, you know, trying to help your son or daughter make a decision like this, because it could affect the next 30 or 40 years of their lives.
That is coming from a man who has been there and done that. Allen Evans was an All-American running back who played for Auburn. Now, more than 30 years later, he and his wife, Shanavis, were tasked with helping their son open the door to the next chapter in his life.
It's just very stressful in terms of wanting to make the right decision for him. And sometimes, you know, you want to please everybody, but the reality is you can't.
His decision wasn't made until National Signing Day. Meanwhile, Keith Holcomb, another one of the state's top linebackers, followed his heart as soon as he received the offer of a lifetime.
It was always a dream of mine to play at Alabama.
That was before Keith entered his senior year at Hillcrest High School. But in those months leading up to that day, Keith spent countless hours being recruited by several Division I programs.
Out of 7 days in a week, it was probably 5 solid days. You're thinking about it, hearing from coaches.
At one point, he had 14 or 15 offers from 14 or 15 different schools.
But at the end of the day, are you really their top target, and who will they be after tomorrow?
The coaches, they're salesmen. I mean, they're selling their product, they're selling their school.
Sometimes I think you've got to weed your way through what they're trying to say to make sure that you know, it benefits your child in the long run.
Keith is also fortunate to have a father that has been through the same process. Danny Holcomb was a center at Alabama under Paul Bear Bryant. But for him, making the right decision was what he wanted most for his youngest son.
It's a memory maker is what it is. When you sit back and look back over the whole experience, you go, well, I can't believe we did that, but we did it because we had to, because we wanted him to, to put him in the best position that we could to, try to live out his dreams.
Now it's over. The letters of intent have been signed, and fortunately for these two young men, there is still some time left to enjoy being a normal teenager again.
It's been a long process, and I haven't had a good whole month of just nothing but Rashaan and his family and just doing the things I used to do before all this got started. I'm really going to appreciate that more.
The weight has been lifted. Rashaan Evans will join Keith Holcomb there at Alabama, among several others. The Tide landing the top recruiting class. It's not official yet, but later in sports we'll hear from Nick Saban and Auburn head coach Gus Malzahn about the wins and losses today for both recruiting classes.